right. I think we're live. It says we're live on the custom streaming service on Zoom. Oh, yes, we are. And we're getting commercials. Welcome to paraglidingtalk.com. I'm your host, Robert Michaels. Glad that you are here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have a great show lined up. It is an open topic. It is an open topic discussion night, paraglidingtalk.com. And the reason why is because we had a couple of guests that I thought were going to bite and say yes to come on, and they couldn't make it. So we're going to do this open topic. And I do want to just say I appreciate everyone who is here. If you're just logging in and you're probably wondering what was going on and why I waited until the last second to post, it is because I waited until the last second. And so sorry about that. But glad that you're here, and I'm excited for tonight's show. We're going to do a discussion, and we're going to talk about paragliding, free flight paragliding versus powered paragliding, free flight versus PPG. So we're going to have some discussion on the differences. I'm excited about that. I'm also excited about giving some stuff away. We're going to do some giveaways tonight. That's with an S. So we're going to do a couple giveaways. So glad that you're checking in. If you're talking in the chat, if you're chatting, your name has been written down in the spinny wheel of Winnie things. So you're pretty excited about that. I'm excited about that. Let's do this. This show is brought to you by PPG Smoke. Go check out ppgsmoke.com for all kinds of cool stuff for your gear. Also, check out paramotorprops.com. If you blow up a prop, there is a really great place that you can go and buy props online for a great deal. Go to paramotorprops.com. That's the website. This show is also brought to you by Para Orange Products. Talk to Larry, the bag lady. They will get you squared away with some great stuff. Check out their website, paraorangeproducts.com. We'll talk a little bit more about the sponsors of this show. If you're interested in supporting this show on Patreon or PayPal, there's links in the description, and I want to encourage you to do it. Keep the show going. Keep my pockets happy. Keep this wheel spinning and keep these good things coming. We were just talking before the show that all the money that comes in, we were discussing on maybe selling T-shirts or selling the neck gaiters. And I said, no, I like the way things are going. The economy of the show is moving in a positive way. And so it's much more fun to just give stuff away. And so hang in there. You're going to win something. Eventually you'll win. There's only a handful of people left that haven't won something from this show. So if you're new, I do want to say this, guy. I was looking at some algorithm stuff. There's a lot of people that are not, they're subscribed. They watch the show, but they're not subscribers. I thought it was interesting. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell so you get the first ring when the show goes live. Anywho, pretty excited about tonight's show. So if you are a paramotor pilot and maybe you know a little bit about both. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, how's it going?
All right.
You got any double batteries?
Nope.
Goodbye.
This is why you need to spank your kids. This is a prime example.
Eat it, kid.
Kick rocks. I had a friend that used to tell his kids, spin them. Spin the tires. I thought that was great.
Well, you know better than tell them to go fly a kite.
Yeah, go fly a kite. People are logging in. Welcome. Glad that you're here. 41 people or so logging in. The first thing that I wanted to discuss, we're going to talk about pros and cons of both paramotoring and free flight paragliding. And so if you're in the chat and you have some ideas or you had some questions that you want to ask, this is an open topic, but for the most part, we're going to stay in the range of paragliding versus PPG. One of the things that I noticed right out of the gate is that there are these purists, and you may have met the purists. They don't want nothing to do with motoring. And in my opinion, and when I first talked to Phil Russman, when I wanted to get in the sport, by the way, I've got a secret I'm going to share with everybody right now. When I first got into the sport, my intention was to get in paramotoring. I called I called Russman and I said, hey, I'm interested in getting a motor and a wing. What do I need to do? And you know what he told me? He said, well, Robert, there is no wrong answer. He goes, but some people like to have a motor on their boat. Some people like to sail. And he goes, I think you're going to like free flight better. And I didn't know how I felt about that. But when he said it, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I want a paramotor. And later on, I found myself falling in love with the challenge of free flight. So anyways, let's go back to the topic, paragliding versus paramotoring. There's no wrong answer. The first thing that I noticed was that there was a resistance. The purist. You start talking about paramotoring in a group where there might be one or two purists that are pure free flight guys, and they will jump into your conversation and shut you down. What are you doing?
Need batteries.
Yeah, why don't you get a job? You could buy your own batteries.
Because I have a job.
I love how you're snooping around where I used to hide my batteries. See, when you have 4 boys, you have to hide batteries because they're expensive, and the kids will find them and they will use them for the goofiest trinkets you can imagine on the planet.
I'm the bearer of very bad advice, but
yeah,
mouse traps seem to work really well.
Mouse traps, yep. That's why you're Uncle Sean.
I know, right? And the sad thing is I'm the favorite uncle because of things like that. Because you know, when you got one, they're like, ah, you know. You're like, yes, got one.
That the old-fashioned ones.
Electric fencers hooked to things work even better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. You know, mousetrap's one thing. Electric fences all another.
Yeah, just stings them for a second.
If you're watching this show because you're interested in getting into paramotoring, which a lot of people I found out have been, they come in because they're interested in getting into the sport, and a lot of people are interested in both. They don't really know exactly where they're going to go. This is the show where you're going to make your consideration. After watching this show, you'll make your decision on what you want to do. One of the first things that you want to consider is, do you have mountains? If you've got mountains, there's a much better chance that you're going to be a free flight person. Obviously, as long as you can fly those mountains. There are some places where you don't necessarily, or you can't necessarily fly. I grew up in Arizona, and some of those mountains are really ragged. That you can fly in off of a couple of them, but for the most part, you don't hear about free flight there. Here in Southern California, lots of places to fly from, a lot of little mountains within an hour away. There's some really cool places to fly. It's not so much across the country. So you might be a flatlander. And just because, let me just say this, just because you have mountains doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a free flight guy or girl. And just because you live in the flatlands doesn't necessarily you're going to be a paramotor person, and because of tows. And I just found out that they have this competition in Texas where they tow up, and these guys are going great distances. I'm talking in the 300K range type of free flight distances. So again, there's no wrong answer, and it's a good thing to have. It is a good thing to consider your options. Now, let me just ask this. What is your impressions, and I'll open up to the panel. What is your impressions on why people choose what they choose? And feel free to chime in here.
It's more like you just said, if you got mountains around, you could do free flight. I want to try free flight, but the only way I can do it around here is to get a tow. Right. And we don't have any mountains big enough to actually free fly.
I think a lot of times it's based on a convenience kind of thing. I would prefer to do free flight, but again, the tow thing, I would have to get a tow because of the flat ground, and that requires ratings. Whereas with a motor, you can take off, you can land. You don't have to have a rating. I think it's important for people to get training regardless, though, because it is just as dangerous. It's kind of like if you look at hang gliding as like a cousin of paramotoring and paragliding, or paragliding and paramotoring. Paragliding and paramotoring would be like brother and sister. They complement each other in specific ways, but they're a little different in others.
Well said, Sean.
Well
I like
said.
I like that you emphasize that training will definitely help. In the chat, Slasmaj, I'm not really sure on the pronunciation of that, but he says we need less division. Let's do both, and I agree
No
with that
doubt.
too. You know, fly everything you can. Free flight, motor, trike, foot launch.
Absolutely. Don't let bias influence your own decision. You know, it really boils down to the individual and what they feel that they want to get out of the sport personally. You know, I'm sure with free fly, I haven't done free fly. I would love to free fly because I've done a lot of kiting, a lot of ground handling, things like that. You know, I know I would love it, but it's just out here, it's just not as convenient as motor flying.
I'd say the obvious too is cost. Obviously, free flight, half the cost to get in the air, for at least for starting out. But also, I would definitely have to say probably convenience. You know, as far as weather, I guess. You know, when PPG motor, you're flying in the morning, the afternoon, it's a little calmer. So I don't know. But yeah, location. You got no mountains. You're in the middle of the country. Flatlands probably pretty difficult. So that's an easy choice to make.
I don't think I've ever asked you this, Anthony. Why did you choose paramotoring over free flight when we have such grandeur places to free fly?
That's a good question. When I started getting interested in flying, you know, obviously living here in San Diego near you, and you know, you're at Torrey all the time. I did do 2 tandem flights at Torrey, and I looked at the cost, obviously, to get training and so forth, and it was you know, a couple $1,000s or whatever. And you know, it was something I was definitely interested in. At that time, I didn't have a whole lot of money or whatever, but so definitely on a tighter budget then. And I kind of put it off a little bit for a while, and then I guess I saw more and more PPG kind of re-spark the interest. And by then it was like, wow, I like the motor idea. I like the ability to take off pretty much from anywhere, you know, on the beach, on the ground, and fly out. So but yeah, so slowly starting to get into free flight, but we'll see. I like the quietness that free flight offers.
Couple questions or comments in the chat. Fly Swamper asks, what are your normal flying times during the day? We during the summer launch at 5 o'clock. And so it's always going to be weather depending. And what happens when you become a free flight person, and I'm sure you experience it a little bit with paramotoring, is you become a weather nerd. And when you've been in the sport long enough, you become a weather snob. And especially when you're a free flight person, you get weather snobbish. And what happens is you'll look at the day and you'll say, oh, it says that I'm going to be able to get 2,000 feet over Blossom today at 5 p.m. And then it drops down to only, 1,500 at 6, and then it turns off at 7. And then you go, yeah, that looks like a good day. And then there might be a day when you can only get about 1,000 feet over, and you'll go, that's not very high. I don't feel like flying today. Now, I always go, even if I have the time off, I don't care if I'm just going to take a sledder to the bottom and hike. I like to go, part of it is for the exercise. Part of it is just to get out. But where's I going with this? When you get to the place where you are launching earlier in the day, you find that kind of like what Gabe said, you take your A glider and you fly it until you're super comfortable on it. and then you start launching earlier and earlier, because the earlier you launch, the more rowdy it is, the scarier it is, and you raise what we call bump tolerance. You get your bump tolerance up, and then you're able to kind of enjoy a broader sphere of the day, or a longer time span. And what's kind of scary and frustrating at the same time in the beginning is that you're going to launch, but then you have to wait for the day to kind of settle down to your level, and sometimes those days never get there. You get ready to launch, everybody's flying around, and it's too strong. You're going to get dragged around on launch, and you're like, I can't, I'm too scared. It's gusting up to 15, 20. My skill set doesn't allow me to launch in that. And then by the time you're ready, it's too late, and it's just a sledder and whatever. The reason I mentioned that is the and this might be where paramotoring is safer than free flying, because you're in charge of your, like, the opportunity to go and fly paramotor is, there's like 90% chance that you're going to be able to go fly, whereas free flying is so weather dependent, and there's a chance that the wind's not going to be the right direction. The thermals are not going to be popping off. Your above launch is not going to exist. There's a lot of reasons why you can't free fly, but you can always get up early and go when there's no wind and send it, almost always. And that, obviously, I know all the people who are, in the rain counties are like, oh, you can't do that. It's not 90. It's probably more like 50 or 40%. You move to San Diego. Excuse me. Another question from Fly Swamper. Would you say ridge soaring the coast is like the bunny hill on the ski hill? That's probably not the comparison. I would say flying the ridge is kind of like the retirement of paragliding. Like, flying in the mountains is an extreme sport. Flying the coast is a retirement sport. I enjoy ridge soaring. It's just, the views are incredible. The people, the energy of the people, every person that's standing there watching you is like, oh my gosh, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And I've always wanted to do that. You always hear people say, I've always wanted to do that. And I'm like, well, you should. And then I tell them, do you want to be in the video? By the way, if you're a YouTuber, I got a tool for you tonight. I'm going to give you some secrets for winning people over to your YouTube channel, some subscribers. If you get a group of people that are all fired up about you flying your paramotor, your free flight gear, take the camera out, ask them if you can film them, and then just do like a selfie thing and say, hey, look at all these people. And then afterwards, they're like, hey, I want to really know. They want to see themselves on your channel, and you might win a couple, might get some subscribers. So I've been doing that for years. A little trick. That was for free tonight. Paraglidingtalk.com secrets.
Nice.
It was a
Had a
huge
guy
group.
run right up to me tonight, and him and his wife, they like parked the car in the street sideways. What are you doing? What is this? I thought they were about to have a conniption,
Oh no.
But he was just like, this is awesome. I can't believe this. I see this everywhere, but I've never seen it here. I said, well, you're in my runway, so
Yeah.
step over there and I'm going to show you what we're all about.
You're on the runway.
He was really, really nice about it, though. He said he's a fixed wing pilot for jets. And he was like, must be the best freedom there is. I said, oh, yeah. I can't compare it to your jet, but I can tell you it's pretty nice.
Oh, yeah.
I've had several instances where people have stopped me when I'm ground handling. Usually I ground handle out at a church where there's like 360-degree rotor everywhere, and I play with it. I play with the wing sometimes I'll leave snail trails, just drag myself around and all
Snail
kinds
trails.
of stuff. Yes, I'll leave snail trails. I'll wave to the traffic going by and everything. And one guy actually stopped to see if I landed and to see if I needed a ride. And I was like, well, thanks, man. No, I'm good. I'm just ground handling, practicing and stuff, and explaining it to him. And yeah, it was a really cool interaction. I've had a lot of interactions with people like that. Like they don't even know what it is. What is that?
What is that?
It's a
Is that
paraglider.
Is that a parachute?
Yeah.
Is that a parasail?
Yeah. I get that a lot. I get a lot of, is that for skydiving?
Did you parachute here? I landed on the back of the lake over here, and they were like, "Where did you come from?" They can't wrap their mind around that I launched from a park that was like 15 miles away. They're like, "What? You did? Wait, no. What plane did you jump out of? That's what I'm talking about." I didn't jump out of a plane. These people, that video was I think it said cross country over San Diego. That video was funny. I don't know if I put the people asking me questions in the video. It's hard. I'm packing up. I'm trying to avoid getting stopped by the Ranger Danger, and he found me right away, and he found Connor. We both landed in the same area. He's like, "Hey, where'd you guys parachute from?" And I so badly wanted to troll him and say that we were military or something. We're doing special ops. Yeah, I couldn't think fast enough on my feet. But he was like, he wanted to say something. This guy had the look on his face like he wanted to bust us. But yeah, he did. He was all right. He drove away. I think it was like he was, "What code violation is this? I need to figure this out." But he didn't have nothing.
Free flight pilots probably get questioned more too, don't you?
Oh yeah.
I think you get questioned a lot more than someone with a motor on their back landing somewhere. They kind of figure we have our own power. You just drop out of the air and land in someone's yard. They're like, "How'd you get here?"
Yeah, where'd you come from, boy?
Were you spying on me?
Yeah. Yep. You brought up a good topic, Sean, about kiting. And I mentioned this before the show started, that there is a difference between free flight guys kiting and paramotor guys kiting. And I want to talk a little bit about that. One of the stark differences that I have found, unless you are a really seasoned paramotor guy, you're not really launching in wind. Doesn't happen very often. And I'll say this is my personal opinion because I've done both now. I really like to launch with some wind. I'll take 10 miles an hour to launch. I'll take it. I like it. And if I can point into the wind, and especially like when we were at the Salton Sea, there was a good base wind of like 8 miles an hour, and it was butter. And I barely just touched the A's and whoop, and that was with a Ozone Spider. Great wing, man. Very impressed with that wing. But excuse me, the guys who fly paramotors, a lot of times I've noticed maybe they don't spend a whole lot of time kiting. Maybe they don't spend a whole lot of time wing learning and handling of the glider. We talk at ground handling. You're learning how to manipulate the glider with just a few strings. You can take just a couple, like for example, I have split A's, which means 2 of them go right to the middle on my leading edge, and then 2 of them kind of go out to the sides. And on certain days, you don't want to grab all 4 of those and yank on the A's. You want to grab on just the 2 middle ones and bring that middle part up first. And I noticed that paramotor guys they just grab the A's, and you got a lot going on because you got the gas throttle in your hand, so you're not really feeling the lines as good as you could. There's no separation. You don't have a whole lot of resistance control where you're grabbing the rear risers and working it. There are some guys that do, but I've just noticed over the years and watching videos, a lot of guys don't necessarily have a ton of control. And I think that is the difference. When I watched guys out the Salton Sea that were skilled and we had a good 10-mile-an-hour base wind. I watched a few guys cobra up their glider and then get it up overhead and then take off. And when you see a guy that's skilled in cobra launching, you can tell, like, you don't have to worry about that guy. He's going to go fly around. He's going to come in and land. His landing is going to be nice. His launch is going to be nice, and you don't have to stress. But when I see guys that don't handle their wing very well, I'm always like, oh gosh, okay, we're gonna have to keep an eye on him, because I'm gonna share a thermal with this guy eventually, or he's gonna be flying the ridge, and if he doesn't know how to kite, he may not understand ridge rules. So I'm gonna be paying close attention to that guy, because I don't want him to get hurt. I don't want to get hurt. All that.
Yeah, I can agree with that. The feedback that you get from a motor is different than free flight. However, it is the same type of motions. There is a difference between how much control you have over a glider in a free flight harness with no motor, as opposed to being in, with your motor on your back. It's more like you're sitting in a chair and you're controlling the wing without really feeling it, but you're controlling the wing just like you would if you were in a free flight harness. The differences would be the forward launch. When you go to forward launch with free flight, you're leaning forward to put, all your weight forward to get moving forward. Whereas with motoring, you're sitting more straight up, more leaned, like, it's hard to explain, but imagine a stick straight up out of the ground and running. That's what it'd be like. But you're not really running technically, just enough to bring the wing up, check it, look at the wing, go, Typically for me, I didn't fly in high winds. When I started out with motoring, it was no wind to 12 miles an hour, no more than 12 miles an hour, because that's when it starts getting bumpy, a little bit turbulent, things get a little bit, crazy with the motor and things. But it's different for the free flight guys too. Is that right, Robert?
Yeah.
As far as the wind, what you're working with, what you got going on, a lot of times you guys are on a ridge, correct?
Yep.
See, then that would be the difference. Whereas you guys have an upward pool of air. Us flatlanders, it's just straight on.
I was going to mention that. That's a great point. When you're on the ground flatland, you're dealing with some rotor, maybe for some trees or whatever that's on the perimeter of wherever you're at. But for the most part, you're dealing with a vertical direction with. Okay, now shift gears. Think about, you're standing on launch. If you've ever seen my videos where I walk up to the rock and I stand on the rock and kite, sometimes I'll be standing there and then all of a sudden I just start flying. And it's because the wind has changed or a thermal starts to build up, and then I just start levitating and then I take off. And that's really fun, by the way, to do the levitation. But if you have the opportunity to have that kind of scenario, and maybe you're a paramotor guy, but you've got a hill somewhere that you can play around on and there's some decent wind, take your gear and find your stall point on your glider. Get yourself about a foot off the ground, and you're going to eat crap, but it's fun. When you're only a foot off the ground, pull on the brakes, keep going deep, 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 and just find out where that thing starts to get weird and disappear on you. It's going to fall backwards, going to yank you back. And I'm saying this with a grain of salt. Be careful, obviously. And if you've got somebody that has experience with kiting there, obviously try to bounce off of them first. Don't just go out there and try to, I'll tell you what I did. When I first started flying, I didn't have any understanding of the sport really, but every hill, every little tiny berm, the side of the beach, anything that I saw, I said, oh, I could fly that. Oh, I bet I could fly that. I'd see a little mountain and I'd be like, I can launch off that. And I was searching really hard with Google Maps around my house so I could find a place where I could go and launch without worrying about it being a site that was maybe regulated or watched or flown by other pilots, because I wanted to just go and ground handle and then maybe like do some small little flights. But realistically, it doesn't always work out that way, especially on the days where if the wind is strong enough to make you soar that little ridge that you're looking at, you're probably not good enough to be able to launch in that anyways. But I'm not trying to pee in the sugar bowl, but it takes time with ground handling before you can really enjoy the sport.
And that's the thing. If it can happen on the ground, it can happen in the air. And if you can correct it on the ground, odds are you can correct it in the air. Your stall point, you can find that stall point without getting off the ground even. And understanding how far that point is in various condition is very important. Just like you're talking about, Robert. Yeah.
My stall point is very different on the flat ground than it is on the hill. And that's because of the direction of the wind. Obviously, if you're cupping the wind like this, it's gonna collapse a lot later than if the wind is coming like that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the reason I mentioned that, finding your stall point and why that's critical, there are going to be times when you're going to want to slow your glider down. I just dropped a video. Actually, I think it's going to come out on Saturday. I come in for a landing and I'm way high. And I realized that, and it's at the end of the day, you're not going to get back up. So this means if I don't land at the hair, we call it the bailout. If I don't land at the bailout, that means I've got about a 30-minute hike from what we call the hairpin. It's way down there and the hill is brutal and it's hot out. And so I come flying in and I start flapping, and I'm flapping to the point where my wing is right at the edge of stall point. I mean, as close as you can get. As a matter of fact, Ryan Bloom, who's a really good pilot, you'll hear him in the video, and he goes, okay, that's too much. That's too much. And it realistically was. And I'm coming in and I'm pumping and I'm fixing my glide, and I'm all these little micro adjustments are happening as I come in, and then I land.
Now, don't let people get confused. This is an advanced technique.
Absolutely advanced.
And this is what they call hover flapping, where you're flapping enough just to hover, just to bring yourself down like this, not necessarily moving forward, not going backwards, not collapsing your wing. It's just enough to get the wing to, and it's an advanced technique. I really hate to explain, all that good. Because, but
I'm leading up to why it's important. There are going to be times when you're going to need it. You'll need that tool in your pocket. I could have hiked, but I didn't want to hike. And I had the tool in my pocket. Why? Because I had already experienced finding stall point, and I've overstalled my glider a couple times. As a matter of fact, I stalled my glider, my very first glider, hardcore, landed on my back from like jumping off a 10-foot ladder and landing on your back. It was, survivable, whatever. WWE does it. And I had the padding in there, but I did it, and I was like, whoa, well, there's the stall point. The next time I would get close to that, I was a little bit apprehensive, and I remember thinking, okay, I better know what I'm doing right here. Same thing. Let's give something away real quick, and we'll come back to this topic. Let's give away Neck Gator.
You know who would be in their glory to see you come in flapping to land? Da Vinci. He would just be over himself.
Yeah.
It's
okay. So no more names are going in the wheel right now, because we've got everybody that's been in here and checking the show out, learning all this important information.
Yes. Critical information.
Yes, to help keep others safe, as a matter of fact.
This show is brought to you by Nebraska PPG. Josh Bowden, he runs a school in Nebraska. If you're interested in getting some top-notch training, sign up with Josh Bowden and his team today. There's a link in the description. Also, this show is brought to you by the Tri-State Skywalkers. If you're in the Indiana, Kentucky, or Ohio area, reach out to Brandon McLeod. Join a flying club will help you to grow in the sport and make you a safer pilot. If you're interested in joining the Tri-State Skywalkers, follow the link in the description. The show is also brought to you by iFly Indiana Powered Paragliding. If you're interested in flying paramotors, there's no better place to get the proper training than iFlyIndiana.com. Kevin and his team will get your feet off the ground.
Let's see.
That's my best radio voice. That's the best I can do.
Yeah, and you know what's great is that was like seriously just like perfectly correlated to where you could snip it and then record the audio, and then that's like your own personal commercial. You could like sip you a little bit of cup of coffee,
Just let it rip.
Just let it rip. Yeah, and check us out mixing it up here, because now I'm spinning the wheel, yo.
Spin it to
and
win
my
it.
audio is not
By the way,
set.
this show is also brought to you by
This is
Lone
a
Star
computer.
Paramotor. Go check out lonestarparamotor.com. That's the website. Ron Turan is the teacher there, and he's been a guest on the show a few times, and he's an awesome dude, and you're really going to enjoy his presence. Go check out his website, lonestarparamotor.com. Is Mark Amundsen still in the chat? I can't see the chat right now.
Who's it gonna be?
I'm going to send him an invite. Oh, we're getting close. I'm going to say Fly Swamper. Oh, maybe not. Oh, it's going to be close.
Oh, no.
My computer's kind of glitching.
Shane.
Ooh.
Fly Swamper.
Oh. Congratulations, Fly Swamper.
I called it. You know what's awesome about this?
Winner.
I know Fly Swamper wanted one. That's awesome. I told you you'd win. You know what I'm saying?
I think it looked like Shane last week too.
Congratulations, Fly Swamper.
Shane right now is like, dude, this thing is rigged. Fly Swamper, I don't know if I have your information, but if you could please message me, go to paraglidingtalk.com and click the contact button, and then give me your details, and I'll send you out one of these wonderful neck gaiters.
If not, I'll forward you his email and you can make it work.
See, the wheel.
You have it?
Yes.
The wheel broke down my headphones, and I was hearing the spin, and I saw Robert's mouth moving, and I couldn't make out a word he was saying. Like, I don't know if he was like, respin the wheel or what. And I was like, oh, yeah. So I lost you guys there for a minute. So.
Oh, you missed some good commercials.
But congrats, Fly Swamper. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, congrats.
Good stuff.
Gary is his name. Fly Swamper.
Okay. Congratulations, winner, chicken dinner. We'll give something else away too before the end of the show. Let's continue that conversation for just a minute longer, and then we're going to talk about packing up your stuff. Putting your stuff away is important. So kiting on the flat ground, different. I noticed that the free flight guys, for the most part, are able to ground handle better. Here's the reason why I think that is. You spend a lot of time para-wading as a free flight guy, whereas paramotor guys are businessmen. They have jobs. They don't have time to be dirtbagging, living in vans, and free flying all the time. So you get your motor, your schedule is set. You're going to get up at 5:30 a.m. You're going to be at the launch at 6, and you're ready to rock and roll. You pull your glider out, you put some gas in it, you yank that sucker a couple times on your back or on a rack, and then you send it. But free flight guys, a lot of times are having to wait. Sometimes we see somebody launch. There might be a base wind, but they'll launch and they just go straight to the bottom. And we have this phenomenon. It's called glass off. And the glass off is a phenomenon. It's amazing what happens. And I'll just, in a nutshell, you have all this energy that's been pumped into the ground from the sun, and things are just heating up big time. And what happens is, as soon as that cool air comes in from the late evening and starts to push through, all that energy has to leave, right? Anytime there's a cool mass, the hotter mass has to rise and leave. And so there's these massive glassy thermals, and everything just becomes electric. And when you're flying in it, there's no edges. There's no like, oh gosh, this is scary. This sucks. I'm scared. I want off. It's all smooth going up. And everywhere you fly, it's just do, 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 do. By the way, Mark Amundsen asked, is it possible to fly without the beeping noise of the variometer? And I love doing that. If you're a free flight pilot, you're watching this, I challenge you to turn your vario off every once in a while. just happened to me the other night that the glass off was better than when we got there at 5 o'clock. We launched like 5:15, and the glass off didn't happen until 6. And then all of a sudden it just went off, and we're just flying. Like these thermals were gigantic, and we got up to like 2,200, something like that. We could have went to El Cap even on the glass off. It was beautiful. Didn't exactly happen the same way the next night, but it was really nice. Yeah. So kiting, paramotor versus free flight. I really believe that it's important to step up the game. If you're a paramotor guy, take some time to go and kite in the park. Take some time to go and learn your glider. If you can, spend some time instead of maybe even sacrifice a flying day, or link up with some free flight people and find out when they go kite.
Yeah, I think it's important to learn both in a sense. The ground handling aspects is hands down on both of them is important.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous time. The takeoff and landing is the most dangerous time. And you want to be efficient with that wing. You want to know that you can put it where you want it.
Yankee Paramotor, by the way, I sent you an invite if you wanted to jump on. And then I also sent, I haven't seen my friend Ripman. He's probably still in the air. I also sent Ripman an invite if you guys wanted to jump on tonight, because I know you guys have a great perspective. Let's talk a little bit about packing up your glider. There's a couple different opinions, and everybody, I believe that there's no wrong answer when it comes to these two choices. Packing your wing up, where you crease everything, you bring it all together, you make sure the lines are organized and put out. By the way, this is how I fold my glider. I kind of tweak out on a little bit, make sure it's all nice at the nose when I wrap it up, and I have a concertina bag, and I make sure that it's strapped properly. And then when I put it away, I fold it sideways, make sure it's flat, smooth the air out of it, make sure that all the seams kind of run the same way, and then I put it away. I've also seen guys that put it in a stuff sack and they ball it up, they grab the cells together, and they shove it in the bag, and they shove it in the back of their truck. And there's some old school guys, they've been flying forever. And when they see somebody packing up their glider like I do, they go, that's a bad idea, because you're going to put multiple creases in the same spot. It's going to cause the distortion of the glider. And then those same guys will say, when you put it away different every time, it saves the condition, blah, blah, blah. But I believe that it's important, especially when it comes to free flying, and you can argue the case that it's important for PPG too. Here's what happens. All of us, I bet you there's not a single person on here that watches this show that doesn't want to have great time management when it's time to fly. Why? We want to have the most amount of fun that we can have packed in to a little space of time that we have to go and fly. And what happens when you're a rookie and when you blow it on the pack job that you did the week before, when you got to fly that last week, you pull your glider out, and now you got to fumble with tangles. Now you got to deal with some kind of weird creases or whatever, a line over or whatever. And then instead of you being able to pull your stuff out, get clipped in and fly, you're dillying around. And I bet you every one of you can say, yep, I know who that guy is. Don't be that guy. Especially when your buddies are waiting for you. If it's a cross country day, and I've done this before, and I've been the dumb guy that does this, where I pull up, I get my glider out, I think everything's good, and I forgot to strap something, and I have to go in and land to fix it on a day where we're going to go cross country and everybody's waiting for me. Girl,
You were that guy.
no, you didn't. So why do we say that? Don't be that guy. Same thing with paramotoring, man. You got a group of guys that are all stoked. Yeah, we're going to go fly underneath the bridge. Yeah, we're going to fly underneath the bridge. Yeah, woo! And then here you are, fumbling, tangled, line overs, and they just fly around you until they get bored. And guess what? Eventually you're going to leave you. Free flight guys are brutal for that, by the way. I've
Well,
been
you
left
know,
so many times.
I take my time. If people are in a rush, they can get up there and do their thing. That's fine. Doesn't bother me a bit. I'm gonna take my time. If I feel like going, I'll go. If I don't feel like going, then I won't go. If I got the 3 times I'm asking myself, should I go? Could I go? Then I don't go.
Mom came through with $20 in the super chat. Thank you, Mom. You saved the super chat tonight because there was not one single donation until you did that. You just paid everybody's way tonight, Mom. Thank you.
Full of rice.
Sean's like, oh, good. Because if I don't get money in the super chat, I don't get a bowl of rice.
A bowl of rice or toilet paper, man, that gets
right.
pretty rough.
Well, we would give toilet paper if it wasn't one to run on toilet paper. Why are people running out with toilet paper?
You know what? We're 3/4 of an hour, Robert.
Are we? Should we give something else away?
I think we should. I
Let's do
think
it.
we should.
Are we giving away another net gator? Maybe never trust a skinny chef. Shane will win finally.
Maybe
right.
maybe I'll rig it to where he doesn't win and he can
John
be
of the
angry
Jungle.
and butthurt about it. Like,
John of the Jungle just admitted that he's a random bag stuffer.
Here we go. All right.
That's a t-shirt.
Random bag stuffer. That would be a good t-shirt. You ready?
I'm a random bag stuffer.
Hang on a minute here. I'm getting my phone blown up here. I got Dave Ruff messaging me. Oh,
is Dave Ruff watching?
I believe he is. He had a picture of the wheel and a picture of me sharing it, I think.
Text
on
you
his,
and
on,
said
yeah,
it's rigged.
he says it's rigged.
Yeah.
And he said his time management is sucking. But it's good that he's watching, though. He hasn't typed in the chat, so I don't have his name in. But are you ready? Because we're spinning.
Let it rip.
We're spinning. And look at that. I fixed the sound even.
This will be for a paraglidingtalk.com navigator. This show is also brought to you by Torrey Pines Glider Port. If you want to learn how to free fly the most beautiful place in the United States, you can reach out to Max Marion or any one of the people that work at Torrey Pines Glider Port here in sunny Southern California. San Diego. Keep it classy, San Diego. Flytorrey.com is the website. Give them a ring and you'll not be disappointed. Also, the show, I don't want to do this last sponsor. I'm going to save it for Craig. We'll do it right after the spin, Craig, if you're ready. Oh, Mr. C. It's going to keep rolling.
What do you think?
Yeah, it's Mr. C. It's just greased up. Congratulations, Mr. C. You're the winner chicken dinner.
You got to change the algorithm on that spin now. Sean Robert's got the numbers down. He's guessing them.
Mr. C. Congratulations, Mr. C. You are the winner chicken dinner. Because you won, I need you to send me your information. So go to the paraglidingtalk.com contact and send me over your details. I'll send you this neck gator. Jairo Jeffra said, are you experiencing rolling blackouts in the social estate of Californication? We haven't been in San Diego because we've been obeying. We've been submitting. Now, I have a confession to make. I haven't turned my air conditioner off because I don't care about rolling blackouts, and I have a generator.
My wife had me increase my AC to 71 degrees. It was hot the other day, but we did have a blackout in Chula Vista.
You did?
Yeah.
Freaking commies.
Right when I went to the Verizon store to get a printout of something, they cut out. They said come back in 2 hours.
Unreal.
That's because you turned your air conditioner down to 71.
What's going on in news, Anthony? Going on in news.
Yeah, I'm the one that caused it. Well, my wife is the one.
Yeah, I was gonna say
71 for air conditioning is cold, isn't it?
Tell me about it.
Yeah, 71 with no humidity feels really cold.
Hey, but listen, I'm doing my part. I've got all solar on my roof, so
I have solar too now.
I pay maybe $5 a year for energy.
That was just so I could irritate the commies.
You know, there was a really good question asked earlier about the cost and time comparison between powered
I know.
paragliding
I
and
was just going to say
paragliding.
that. I was just going to say that, Sean. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Craig Taylor posted that in our private chat here, and I'm not sure who mentioned that, but that is a great thing. So let's talk about the cost. If I wanted to buy, for example, the new Delta 4 is out. If you don't know what the Delta 4, it's a sea glider. Delta is a really good wing, and my glider is the Alpina, which is the lightweight version of the Delta cut. Mine's the Delta 2 or the Alpina 2 cut. It's just different material. There's a couple other little differences, but anyways, that new glider, the Delta 4, will cost me around $4,500. Okay, that's with a little markup from the sales guy or whatever. But nevertheless, the harness is going to be about $1,000, whereas your paramotor, typically you buy a paramotor, it comes with a harness already. I don't know that there's that much difference in glider cost. I want to say they're around between $3,500 and $4,500. Yeah. That is a great question for somebody who sells gear, and you're a local person that sells gear. As long as they're cool, talk to them and buy from them. Every once in a while, you're gonna hear people that are like, "Oh, I got this homie hookup." I had a buddy who bought a glider, and he had it to avoid U.S. sales tax. He had it shipped to Mexico, and then he went across the border to where it got delivered, and he went and picked it up, and it worked out eventually. But it got caught up in customs, and then it showed that it was a FedEx delivery. It showed up at the facility at FedEx, and they wouldn't release it until there was some kind of a fine or fee paid. And I thought it was just a cartel tax, but it showed up, and he was losing his mind because he couldn't get his glider. And it took an extra month. And I thought to myself during that time, because he's flying his old gear, whatever, it wasn't a big deal, but really frustrating for him. And I remember thinking, would it be worth the $1,000 to just know that your glider was going to show up when you thought? You got to weigh out those decisions when you're buying from people or from sketchy places. Don't ever buy from the sketchy online places. I know Sean had a horrible experience with that. I'm not going to open up that can. Sorry to mention it, Sean. I know it's still too soon, but be careful who you're buying your gear from. Talk to your instructor. Talk to a guy that you know is working out. Maybe you're watching this and you're like, I don't know who I should buy from. Private message me. I'll connect you with somebody. And I've got connections from everybody around the country, and every one of these moderators knows somebody that you can buy from as well. And so, anyways, consider that. Training is a different beast. You're going to find people that will train you for $4,000. I think it's around $3,500 at Torrey Pines. That doesn't include gear. That just gets you a certain level on your rating. There are going to be people that are going to teach you in the paramotoring world that might only charge you $800 or $1,000, which is really cheap. That is really low. I'm hesitant to sign up for training if it's too cheap, because if you're not charging very much, it might mean that you're not confident in your teaching skill, or it might mean that you're just wanting to be the homie, but it's hard to tell, so you really should know the person. I know that, for example, Kyle O'Glee teaches in kind of the mid-range, and I think he's an incredible teacher. I've listened to him talk. He's very passionate. You can see it in every one of his videos. So you already kind of know what you're getting into with him. But
I'm one of his Padawans, by the way.
That's right.
I can speak from experience.
That's right.
He was very, very knowledgeable, and
yeah, he's a great
it was
dude.
it was very good to see that the information, just like in his videos, the way that he enunciates and carries on in his classes, he's just as adamant with making it a personal experience and allowing the person to grow, and it really is an experience. It's awesome. So yeah, by far, yeah.
I just noticed that Todd,
He just popped in. Yeah,
he
I see
popped in,
that.
but I didn't hear the bell.
No, I didn't
I hope he
either.
wasn't waiting there very long. So I'm gonna send out a couple more invites for the after show too, because we're creeping up on the after show time already. Can you believe that?
I guess David Ruff has been ghosting us watching the show here, and he said he had a question for you.
Oh, bring it.
Well, okay.
Too late, or is it?
Well, I don't know because of the equivalency of demonetization. I think I'll save that for the after show.
Okay.
Sorry, Dave Ruff, but I'm going to share this later on with Robert. But it's a good one.
$1,000 for a 3-blade? My word. No kidding.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
I didn't know that.
The props are pretty expensive. For as far as training and things go, I think really the PPG is a little bit more expensive, and the reason why is one, you've got more equipment, which you're going to be buying and maintaining more things.
No doubt.
As far as your training goes, you get what you pay for, but and there are deals to be had from very good, knowledgeable instructors. But the important thing is to find out about the instructors and actually learn from others, their experiences with that instructor, and learning about their experience. If they're knowledgeable, if they want to keep you safe, that is important, and that is worth its weight in gold. Really, what are you worth? That's the important question here. What are you worth?
Yeah, I like it when Steve Nowak says, he goes, "I think you're worth it. I think you're worth it. Buy some new gear. I think you're worth it." Oh yeah. Something that we were planning on discussing is thermals, and so I'm gonna crack off a few things about thermals, since we're talking about differences between free flight and paramotoring. I don't have a whole lot of paramotoring thermal experience. I did feel some thermals when we were at out at the Salton Sea, but not like free flying thermals, and I wasn't taking anything to the top. But a few things that you can learn about thermals. One, earlier in the day, sharper thermals, sharper edges, and they're going to be more violent. And when I say violent, it's going to feel like the hand of God is grabbing you and just yanking you up. Sometimes those can be scary, and sometimes those can deflate your wing and cause all kinds of chaos for your flying. Consider taking it slow when you start to go into thermal flying. I noticed there was a handful of people in the last year or so that were really passionate about paramotor thermal flying. There's nothing wrong with that, but make sure that your skill set matches your desires. Don't go out there and smash the gas because you're wanting to just do it just to say you did it. Start off maybe by, and I'm sure all of you have done it, where you don't necessarily want to stop flying your paramotor, and it's getting later into the morning, and you get to that 10 o'clock, I don't know what time, and when it starts, you start to feel like, whoa, there's something, I better
it's when it starts turning on.
Yeah, it's starting to turn on. Maybe I really liked what Gabe said. By the way, Todd's with us. Hello, Todd. Thank you for coming on. Yankee Paramotor is with us. So when he mentioned this in the last show, was like, step up when you change glider, or when you step up in glider class, launch a little bit later. This is for free flight, and and then work your way into launching earlier as you become more skilled. Same situation with the paramotoring. There are going to be times when you're going to step up, and maybe you're going to lower your aspect ratio, lower your the size of the glider so you can fly a little faster. And one thing that we didn't get to talk about was weight range. Something that's very critical. People don't consider this, and I noticed in the paramotor community, they lack this discipline to purchase wings that are in their weight range. With free flying, your weight range is down to a science. And as a matter of fact, you can buy a glider and go, yeah, my glider weight range is between 80 and 100 kg. The glider that I'm flying right now, it wants to be all up at 95 kg. The bottom half is 75 kg. That's the smallest you want to be on it, and 95 all up is where my glider likes to be. So you're going to buy certain gliders in certain classes, and they're going to want to have a certain weight range, and they're going to want you to be, flying in a certain weight. Talk to your instructor. Talk to and dig in and do a little science with your glider before you buy it, and consider your weight, your all up weight, and learn what that means to fly all up. What does it mean? And consider those things before you buy your glider. Any other questions that we missed? Oh, Todd, I saw that. He doesn't have
I can
bandwidth.
speak from experience. I had a wing that I was a bit light on. The reasons why I had bought that particular wing was in case if I was struggling with foot launching, I could put a track on it and I would be all right and still be able to fly that same wing. I didn't have as many complications foot launching as I thought. And it was like 3 steps. I was off the ground, half throttle, no biggie. But in Ohio, when you get 5-mile-an-hour winds and that makes you parked, and you're just sitting there like a hot air balloon, and you really got to pee, and you've been up there for 45 minutes and you just can't come down because you're stuck right in one spot and you got to pee and you're wiggling your toes going, oh, my eyes are floating. I really got to go. It's getting so uncomfortable. You're crossing your legs trying to keep it in because you're like, I just want to get on the ground. I almost didn't make it type, not fun. So definitely, and again, that boils back down to the instructor. If you talk to a very skilled instructor, they'll be able to lead you to several different resources, several different gliders, and just talking and understanding where your flying style would be, or where you would like to be eventually, where your experience level is right now comes into play. They'll be able to at least lead you or guide you to a reputable company and a reputable place to get your wing. So that way you fit right in that weight range, because American, we go by pounds, not kilograms, and that gets confusing a lot of times for guys too.
It's true.
That's too much math.
Too much math.
2.2 times 1. Oh, what?
I got 10 fingers. That's as high as I can go.
Yeah.
I got 5 toes.
Well, we're going to go to the after show. Thank you so much, everybody who's been watching the show, sticking around. Oh, did you want to give a quick mention, Craig Taylor?
Before you wrap up the show and go to the after show, my apologies for missing it in the previous week, but Resurgence PPG is a 501c3 nonprofit for veterans by veterans. And, I know that you guys have heard it before 100 times, and I'm going to tell you 100 more if somebody lets me. Please do what you can to support those guys. Every little bit counts. Smile.Amazon, if nothing else. If you can, and there's not another charity more dear to your heart, do it. It's a great cause. Also, if you do know a veteran that could benefit from a chance and opportunity to get in the air with the rest of us and have safe and confident training, please go to resurgenceppg.com and nominate that veteran for that opportunity. And I'm not quite sure how to put this, but don't forget to join us next week for the announcement to the Freedom of Flight Leadership Award.
Yeah.
You better tell your friends, tell your sister, tell your mother, Linda, because the announcement will be next week, and you never know. It could be you.
It could be you. Yeah, go to the website, please, and nominate somebody. This is the last week. So next week, we're going to announce, next Thursday, we're going to announce the winner chicken dinner of the award. And they're not going to get some corny neck gator. They're getting an actual award. And I'm not sure.
I'm not going to spill the beans, but
Yeah,
me
no,
and
no,
the
don't.
design team are working on a very, very stout and prestigious
Yes.
award. It may show up in a box that says Fragile.
Fragile, which is French for fragile. Thank you, Craig. You keep it together. Somehow I almost forget every week. So thank you for remembering that. I don't know.
Check your NOTAMs and TFRs.
Yeah, check your NOTAMs and TFRs. You don't know.
You never know until you go. Where Donnie T might be.
Yeah, right? Seriously. He might be flying in to a city near you. They do no flies over here all the time because of the military base. It's out of control. Yes. We're going to go to the after show. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate everybody. Paraglidingtalk.com. If I don't see you in the air, I'll see you on the air. Have a great night.